Hello, hello. If we are indeed live, allow me to adjust my chair. Should have done this before. Getting everything set up, but I'm a little bit late. Get comfortable. Don't hook my microphone with the cord. 4 viewers waiting is what YouTube says. I don't need that widget. Yeah, according to this, it says we are indeed live and have viewers. So if anyone wants to put in the chat, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. We are beginning Chapter 6, so that's going to be fun. And in the meantime, we have 4,000 subscribers. And so I wanted to do this live stream and whatnot. I debated what to do to celebrate 4,000 subs, and I figured, well, might as well have some talking, have some chatter. One sec, is that white Fire Emblem thing just bothering anyone else? I don't think I really need it. We can just hide that. That'll be fine. If there's anything else important, we can put that down there. But as far as I'm aware, we should be good to go. As usual, we have some Fire Emblem 4 on the left, a little bit of old school RuneScape on the bottom right. We're just crafting blood runes. Let me turn on mouse keys so I can just do what I need to here. King Danon, the appointed king of Izak, is a brutal and unforgiving tyrant indeed. Just like his late father, Duke Langbolt. But yeah, we're just chilling out here. It's just gonna be a good old time had by all, so if anyone has any comments, questions, whatever you have, feel free to type them in chat. May or may not have people coming on. I don't have anyone planned to like come on voice or anything, but you know, if there's any interest, we'll see. Yeah, I'm keeping things open, and we will see what happens. We shall see what happens indeed. Yes, Prince Shannon is growing a liberation army. A young man dubbed the Scion of Light by the people of Izak and revered as the rightful prince of the Granvale Empire. The brave young leader of the Liberation Army, Seliph. Everyone loves Seliph. Welcome to Chapter 6. Is the audio balance okay? I worry that it's not, but I want to make sure that it is. I'm going to turn up the desktop audio a little bit. I'm going to move stuff around here. My setup, see if I can just get it working properly. Haven't you found the rebels yet? But yeah, 4,000 subscribers. Way back when I started this channel in like 2013, Okay, I had no concept of what this channel was going to be. I have no concept of what I was going to do. I just started this because I wanted to play video games and maybe have people watch, maybe be able to talk about them. And here I am. And here we are. Fire Emblem has apparently become my niche, which is an interesting life to live, shall we say. Whether I agree or not, with a lot of the Fire Emblem community, it has become a sort of home for me in its own strange way. And so who am I to complain or disregard it? A brigade set out from Ganeshar. Prince Shannon's still off trying to find the Yid Shrine, and Oifia and the others aren't back yet. You can sit here and be as scared of the Witless as you like. This prince treats the cult's children, but we've had more enough training. We're ready for real action. Oh, I'm sure you are. Dead or wishing I was. But yeah, so I've had a lot of fun with the Unit Design 101 series. That really has skyrocketed my channel the last, like, 2,000 at least subs that I've gotten have been since doing that, starting that. So just this year I've already doubled over doubled my subs in the last 12 months. Which is kind of insane. The first video you saw was a video about the first Diablo game. Oh yes, hello Valiant, how's it going? How's it doing? That is something that is interesting, where it's like, yes, Fire Emblem is what I might be most known for, but there's a lot of people who watch my channel who have come from all stripes, shall we say. I've certainly played many different games, older games. This channel was initially just an excuse for me to play and talk about my old favorites, my nostalgic favorite games, and then go into more details about them, or do weird challenge runs in them. But, you know, things change, things transform. So what do we have here? We have Seliph, with the Barrier Ring, Shield Ring, Speed Ring, and Paragon Ring. So defense, resistance, speed, double experience gain. I guess he has a Slim Sword, he also has Brave Sword. Is there an arena in Chapter 6, or is that only in Chapter 7? I feel like there can't really be an arena in Chapter 6. Not realistically, at least. We have Larce, with Pursuit, Nihil, Vantage, Astra, Paragon. Yeah, by the way, you have Pursuit, Nihil as personals. Yes, Vantage, Astra, Paragon. You know, the good old Lex Ira combo. Fan-frickin-tastic. Oh yes, let me just... Every once in a while I'll just have to do this here. Crafting blood runes in old school RuneScape has just become my new passive, both moneymaker and also experience grind, because I'm working on that rune crafting, and rune crafting is a nightmare. So, Ulster, unfortunately, does start with only the Iron Blade to his name. Can't really inherit much from Lex. I gave him the return band, so he'll be able to return, you know, move around a little bit. Mostly, it's probably going to be for money. Larcy has all sorts of swords that she can sell for money. Basically, any sword that I didn't know where I was going to be sending it to went to her. She has the crit silver sword over here. That's going to be her best weapon, probably, because the brave sword is on Seliph. And then we have Lana with heal, physic, and warp. And that's what we got. So I know, technically speaking, if I want to be optimal, I just send Seliph out and he pretty much solos the map. At least this early part of it. So let's start that, I suppose. Anything that I want to do, anything I care to do. You should probably sell some... exchange some swords as your first turn. That'll probably be the best use of your turns. And then I'll catch up later. Yeah, any questions, any comments, anything you want to know, just ask away. One sec, let me see if I can set up some sort of comment. Can I adjust this? Can I center that text? Alignment, center. Let's do this. Oh, that's getting cut off now. That should be easier to have. I don't know how to make it scrolling. Well, let's do that. Okay, I believe that should appear now. Aren't blades just worse version of swords in FE4? Kind of. They have... So I will show you. They do have significantly more might. They have... So, silver blade to silver sword. They have significantly more might, but they have 20 less hit and 3 more weight. So while not strictly worse in all regards, they are definitely subpar in many regards. So I think what I want you to do... Visit town. There is not an arena. Oh, we don't need the blacksmith. So make sure that... yeah, you can have the damage sword and give the shield sword and the wing slayer, I guess, over, and that'll be good. Yeah, the return band allowed me to get some money over. That way, Ulster doesn't just start with an iron blade. So part of the reason why people say Ulster is bad, like Ulster's not as good as Larce in general, but part of the reason why people say Ulster is so bad is mostly just an optics issue, because he starts with an iron blade, and most pairings that are good for him, or that get done, like Lex Ira, he gets kind of screwed over. Because it really is just not a fantastic opportunity for him. Okay, I want to not be on the road. So I guess we'll just attack and not have any worries whatsoever, because there's like no way. Okay, that's how Selip's starting, with a good old 4, taking a 4% hit. I was about to say, there's basically no way he's getting hit. Eats a 4% right away. Love it. Trading might for weight, not a very good deal in your opinion. It depends, because weight... Like, 6 might for 3 weight. It actually ends up being the hit that you care more about. In my experience, is that the weight doesn't really matter in FE4 specifically, because, first of all, enemies probably aren't doubling you because they don't have pursuit. You're probably doubling them, and then also, yes, if the weight was very significant, then it would definitely be a burden. And so I think something like Engage, where the lines on doubling are so close, then trading a couple points of weight really matter. But because it's FE4, I think it definitely... Like, the Silver Sword is definitely better as a general weapon than the Silver Blade. I'm not going to say that's not true. But the extra might is significant. And is not something to kind of be taken lightly. And the weight is not necessarily the problem with the blade, it's the accuracy. Because a 60 base accuracy versus an 80 base accuracy is quite a bit. Also, what were those stats again? What was that stat increase that I just saw? I swear I saw something. I guess Lana's just gonna physics Seliph because he ate a 4% hit. Congrats on the milestone, really enjoy the content. Thank you, Professor Funk. Congrats on the 40k goat. Thank you, Ela. By the way, if you want to pop in voice, I'm not going to say no, but I will leave that up to you. Friend of the channel, you're always welcome here. Just give me a heads up and I can join the voice channel on Discord. Oh, +1 luck. Okay. Makes sense. I saw that something happened, but it went by too quickly for me to really see what happened specifically. Yeah, so this is the power strat. So I've played through FE4 once before. I did not do the Seliph power-up strat right away. He didn't promote until like chapter... like end of chapter 7, start of chapter 8, I want to say. It was even mid-chapter 8, I don't know. He did not promote very early at all, and it became quite... It did become quite problematic, and got me into positions where I basically was forced to use other units than Seliph, because I think a lot of people just assume you promote him at the end of chapter 6. Can't tonight, I'm going to take next time. The problem is, like, fair enough. Like I said, the problem with that is that I don't necessarily know when the next time I'm going to be streaming is. Streaming is not necessarily what my channel is built on. Mostly because I frankly... I mean, this is Q... It's meant to be celebration, but it's also meant to be like Q&A, AMA, whatever. Part of the reason I don't stream is just I've found that I don't... Like, my schedule's too infrequent to... Okay, logistically, my schedule's too infrequent for me to really get a lot of benefit from streaming. A lot of people like consistent schedules, and I'm too inconsistent for them. I forgot that I gave him... Okay, so every sword that did not go to Larce, I guess, went to Dermot. Look at this mad lad stacked with swords he's never even gonna use. Okay, Lester. We have Pursuit Accost. A-rank bows, so he has the Killer and the Brave Bow. Oify's still Oify. Dermot. Honestly, not bad. Honestly, not bad at all. Charm, Vantage, a million swords. Like, I can probably just chuck the Iron Sword. There's no reason for me to ever use it. Across everything else that I have. Do I want to take the extra time to do that? I think I'll just do that at the next castle. There's no one that really wants to buy stuff. There's no rush. Sorry, were there conversations? Talk with Lana. Okay, yeah, that'll happen. Yeah, let's do a good old talk here. It was one of the other day we were going to continue this run. YouTube's doing that doubling text thing. Fantastic. Yeah, it's like... it's one of those things of... You know, whenever I stream, I'll continue the run, because it feels weird doing it off-stream, but at the same time, I stream so irregularly. Anyway, done talking about units, let's talk about what I was saying in the first place. One, logistically, my schedule is just too inconsistent for me to reliably stream. I have something that's more consistent now, so I could probably stream more regularly if I wanted to. Okay, looks like these are just giving like +1 luck, so not super important. Okay, we have the upper path, we have the lower path where all the enemies are. Then it splits off over here, and then we just have, that's Ganashare. I actually think Seliph just moves down, waits over here, and then someone else gets to pick up Mr. Steel Axe over here. I guess he'll decide who he wants to fight. Do you want to fight, yeah. Which of the twins do you want to fight, I guess? But yeah, so that's part of it. The other part is that, frankly, viewership has not... Like, I realized and saw, you know, viewership and engagement has just not been very good on streams. And sure, part of that is the irregularity, part of that is me not knowing how to set up streams and advertise them and all that sort of stuff. But part of me is almost certainly, because this is the AMA, I'm just being honest, me not being very interesting in long-form content for enough people to really value. And I will totally admit that I am not necessarily a streaming person on the regular. Every once in a while I might have some times that are good. Fantastic question. So my original run, I've only done one run of this before, and I got the Axe Knight. And he was very underwhelming and disappointing, to the point that I couldn't really do much with him in general. Yes, he could, like, quote, ride to the front and see combat, but I would never really want him to be seeing combat because he would just die. But I'm not sure that the warrior would be doing much better. It honestly might come down to whoever's army I feel is easier to take down, or like more beneficial for me to like not have to deal with. I forget how all the triggers work for this. But also, can I say that FE4, I am so glad to just be playing in Gen 2, where I don't have to deal with freaking sitting half my army together and being super focused on who's standing next to who. That is my least favorite part of FE4, is Gen 1's shenanigans for trying to get units together and pair them up. Because I'm not able to really play Fire Emblem while I'm doing that. I'm forced... Oh, one sec. Of course it happens at the end of enemy phase that I have to grind the essence. Oh, Selip's gonna absolutely shred this Brave Sword. I'm gonna have to repair it so soon. So quickly. It's so sad. He's like... Okay, I guess I didn't have crit on it yet, which is why it's... Which is another reason why it's... Like, it's 1 kill away from getting crit. Yeah, it looks like Larce was chosen. So Larce is gonna be getting this kill too, probably. Nope, did not crit. Did not proc Astra. Gen 2 is so much better. Aura versus Nosferatu isn't part of the equation. I forgot how that works. Like, I remember that, in terms of, like, I remember that being a thing. Yeah, look at that. Just the blade is so much weaker. But it's also so much cheaper. And I have plenty of hit already. I can just do that. I forget how that works in terms of, I forget which one gives what. Aura versus Nosferatu, because frankly neither are super good. I would rather have Nosferatu over Aura, but I don't... I can understand not liking turn information pairing. I'm not going to play FE7 found non-cheesy support building to be a very funny way to approach tactics. Non-cheesy support? How do you mean? You mean like just who to stand next to who? Like, that's fine, and I'm fine with that being a thing for like support building. But Gen 1 FE4 in particular, because you have a hard time limit on how much you can get per turn, and you have to get it with one unit set before you get it with another unit set that you don't want it on, otherwise, like, you're kind of screwed over. It feels way too... restrictive in that, because, like, I'm fine with supports feeling more of an optional thing, or being, like, something that, you know, you get them if you get them, you don't if you don't, or you work towards them, and that's fine. But with FE4, with the way that the inheritance system works, you kind of feel like it drastically changes how your Gen 2 looks and feels. And so if you're going for a particular pairing, you need to then dedicate so much to going for those pairings that you're not allowed to just use the units how you want to use them. And yes, there's definitely some strategic element of, oh, well, I need to place these units together, and then, like, planning how they can attack or how they can then move to make that happen. But I just don't particularly like doing that. Like, that's not my particular flavor of Fire Emblem, of, like, I'll do it, but I'd rather just kind of move the units how I want, use the units how they themselves want to be used. You meant Banon Cheesy was trying to reach max support and use it without spamming end turns. Oh, yeah. No, that makes sense. And trying to do that, definitely, I agree, in, like, the GBA games, is interesting, and except for, I guess, even in FE6, it kind of is parsed out in a pretty decent way in terms of how long it, like, it's time paced out how long it takes each support to gain, for the most part. FE6 is a little more slow, but it does have a lot longer maps in general, so you feel it a little less in that sense. But I will also say there's just a lot of, with FE4 Gen 1 in particular, because so much onus is placed on getting not just, like, even any support pairs, but, like, the very specific ones you plan, and that there are, like, landmines, basically, where if you do it wrong, you then automatically get a different pair. It's too much overhead in how I have to place my units for a benefit that I'm not necessarily seeing right away, or even soon. But I totally understand that, you know, that can be an engaging part, an interesting part. It's just not really my thing and my desired preferred way to play, which is fine if it's yours. Okay, you get Aura if you seize Safara. After a convo between Seliph and Julia, you get Nosferatu if you seize the other. So you get Aura for Safara, and the other one for the other one. Can I just set that? Yeah, there's just going to be a lot of moving and waiting, because welcome to FE4 when you just have a giant field between you and the next set of units. FE4 is definitely different. So you get the resistance for is pretty binary. You get your pairing or you don't. Yeah. And it's like, because I agree. I don't like spamming end turn in GBA games to get supports. I like being able to get them, you know, through gameplay, but also being able to get enough of supports to actually get it in gameplay. Should I just take the woods? Are these all the same? They're probably all the same. Self gonna break his brave sword. He probably is. Ah, this is the problem with Seliph. The Brave Sword breaks, and then where are you at? Do I Killer Bow? Do I Brave Bow? It's 15, 15, 15. Brave Bow kills, okay. Yeah, let's give some of our other units a little bit of experience. They do need the help. Like, much as it helps to give Seliph just as much as possible early on, your other units do need some assistance in doing their thing. Okay, like, if I attack and I don't get enough kills right away, then I'm stuck with a broken sword, and that's a problem, so I think I just go to the slim sword. Seliph doesn't end up killing, but he still gets all the chip XP, and then he doesn't break his sword, and then it's just cleanup? I think that honestly might be my best bet for what to do here. Or you can crit and the sword doesn't break. So at 50 kills, what's the crit rate on a 50 kill sword? That's just like, is it equal to his skill then? And then it's like plus 1% for every kill above 50? I don't know, someone's gonna get mad at me in the comments for using the slim sword instead of the brave sword. And to them I say, who cares? That is another... we want to go on fiery hot topics between me and the Fire Emblem community. That is another beef I have, I guess we'll say, is backseating. And not even backseating like in stream, but like, oh, you're playing a game. You're not playing it the way I would play it. Therefore, you're wrong. And how dare you enjoy a game that I think is bad? How dare you play a game in a suboptimal way? How dare you use a unit that I think sucks? Who the heck cares? It's a video game and you're online. You're on the internet. Okay, Dermot, take that kill, fall back, let Lana heal you up. Everyone else, aside from maybe the armors, is in, like, easy one-rounding range. I guess Oifi has the Armor Slayer. He can go ahead and just break that there. Alright, Mr. Streamer, all your Gen 2 parents just well, please restart the run. Boom in an army of Raging Barbarian or one Speedy Boy. One Speedy Boy every single time because Fire Emblem. Because Fire Emblem logic. Okay, so this is one time when I will switch to the Silver Blade just because the extra damage is so much more important. And even then, I don't get the Astro proc. I don't get the proc, so I just don't get the kill. Yeah, I'll do that. Why not? But yeah, it's like, I don't care if I'm doing things, quote, suboptimally. Because I'm doing things the way I want to, and I find games more fun when I play them the way I want to. And I think a lot, and that is, like, that's a big part of what I aim to do with the channel. Is just, stupid as it sounds, encourage people to be okay with playing the games quote-unquote suboptimally. Just encouraging people to say, hey, you want to use all your units? Go ahead and use them. You don't like low manning? don't do it. You don't want to just optimize your main lord or dump all your bonus experience into one unit? Then don't freaking do it. You don't have to. You can play the game the way you want to play it. You have to do the meme thing just for the sanity when you play a game enough too. Yeah, exactly. Like, I have not played these games ad infinitum. Or ad nauseum. I'm not sick of it. I'm not sick of these games. I'm still experimenting with games to play, with ways to play them. Why did you attack Oifi? I guess because you have the best chance to hit Oifi. Hashtag EXP stealing. Actually, you should be doing an LTC strategy to optimize your run. On your 5th run of FE10 the last month right now, and I have 5th run of FE10 in the last month. Tier 3 Ilyana. I've always wanted to go big Ilyana energy, Elit. How is that going for you? How is big Ilyana energy going for you? Because I've always wanted to do that. But I forget if I did on my big mage run, my mage general tower run. Because that was kind of like a last minute, okay, I guess I'm shoving all my mages and generals into the tower because I had extra space and didn't just want to bring like a million more Lagoose Royals. I was bringing like 3 of them and that was enough. So which one's Safara and which one's... Okay, village there. Village... I guess we don't even have the castles on the map yet, do we? Oh, that's Safara. So you get aura from going there. You get Nosferatu from coming here. The thing is, because she's not really doubling, Julia with Nosferatu, I feel like isn't going to be as crazy as it sounds. Of like, people hear Nosferatu, Fire Emblem, and they go crazy for it. And I'm pretty sure that that's what I did on my first run, as I went Nosferatu, but I'm wondering if Aura is actually the right choice. Do a 6th run with Tier 3 Fiona and Heather on Atelius Craze right now, it's nuts. Fantastic. Radiant Dawn I love, but I haven't played in like 10 years, because I'm busy and it's a very long game. Radiant Dawn is a freaking long game. Especially when I play, I like reading through the story and doing all that stuff. But yeah, Radiant Dawn was so fundamental with how I appreciate and think of stories that it's really hard for me to kind of separate out a lot of my things for it. So it's like every time I play through, I have to read the story. I have to play through one story playthrough. Have a hard mode awakening playthrough with Cracked Sully. Isn't used in the late game often. Yeah, exactly. Because people in the Fire Emblem community, well-documented fact, people in the Fire Emblem community love optimization. Okay, specifically content creators, most content creators in the Fire Emblem community are so obsessed with the meta, with optimization, and with using good units. Or at least discussion content creators. Like, I will say, the people who make content of like just playing the game, Let's Players and whatnot, will use the meme units, will use the fun units, will do dumb strategies purely for the sake of because they can. And that's totally fine, I'm all for that. But it's the people that are like watching tier list content or LTC content and are doing so much of that and paying so much attention to that, that they then kind of get it in their head that that's not just like, oh, here's the best units, but like, here's the optimal way to play. Here's like, as if then it becomes like a morally correct way to play. And that's how they talk about it and how they argue about it in channels and comments and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, cool. You can be correct. And I can still not have anything to say to you. Also, Dermot. Is Dermot usually made of glass bones and paper skin? What the heck is up with this? Why is the part of Dermot being played by Glass Joe today? He's not dodged. He's taking like 20 damage per hit he takes. You just have a negative defense? You have 9 defense. What the heck is up? I don't understand. Oh, he had an Armor Slayer too. I could have just used that. Totally smart Fire Emblem player over here, guys. Optimization efficiency big in OSRS as well. Yeah, exactly. The other game I'm playing on this screen right now is that people love efficiency. People love just playing to finish the game. And like here's the thing that some time ago I posted, like last week or 2 weeks ago, I posted a question that was deliberately very vague and probably overly much so. But I posed the question to my community: do you play games to experience them or to beat them? Specifically with the... Also, hello, Selif Gaming. We are indeed Selif Gaming today. But I posed that question specifically with the express purpose to, for lack of a better term, call out a lot of people in the Fire Emblem community for just, like, look, you're not really... If you play games solely with an optimization mindset, that can be fun in its own right or enjoyable in its own way. But you have to understand that you are then not playing the games to necessarily experiencing them, you're just playing them to beat them. You're just playing them to get to a particular end goal. Like unit design videos. Thank you, Lapsus. I hope you are having a fantastic day. And so I put that out there with that sole express purpose of not necessarily baiting the community. That's not like my stated goal or anything. Okay, if I somehow like get hit again and like almost die, I'm gonna be very sad in Dermot. Yeah, because Dermot doesn't actually kill. That's the problem with Dermot right now. Let's go Shield Sword. Yeah, and I would have the Night Band as well, but unfortunately, someone decided to charge the enemy, and that someone was, what's his name? Chapter 2 Green Knight. Not desirable, not the outcome I would have preferred. We are just going to finish you off. I know that in theory I should be using the Brave Sword more to farm kills with it, but again, how much do I care? Having a fabulous day, found a lunatic mod for FE Echoes. Oh, cool, cool. Hope that is good for you. Echoes is fantastic. I love it. People can hate on it all they want. I love Echoes. I think it's a great game. But I hope that lunatic mod is doing well for you. And nothing more than petty rebels. But like old school RuneScape, for instance, since you brought it up, so many people view like the quests as like an annoying slog of content you have to quote get through in order to unlock like the real like big account progress stuff. Meanwhile, for me, I almost quit the game after getting the quest cape the first time because I had basically done all I wanted to do because the quests are the game for me. And sure, I've kept playing, I've kept going, obviously, I'm rune crafting at level, 82, almost 83 rune crafting, so, I'm going for achievement diaries, but it's like, I kind of need these goals dictated to me in order to really have a lot of fun. I guess I should probably just visit. King Danon's got 3 sons. Brian lives in Granvale. Johan controls Izat Castle. Javier controls Safara Castle. both kind of an odd sort, and they both got a session with someone in your army called Larse. Always squabbling, neither of them really bad. I bet they'd want to join forces with you. Yeah, I don't care. Okay, speaking of Larse, we'll give her a good old heal. But it's just one of those things of like, find what games do best, find what enjoyment they can give you, and do that. I'm not telling you how to live your life, how to run your game, but I am saying, like, be open to the possibility that sometimes playing a game with a little bit of a different mindset can have a very different result. It can be really fun. Been a while, hasn't it, Seliph? Your Majesty, King Lewin of Sleece? Sleece is just another Imperial conquest now. It's all it's been since this mess in Valhalla. It was also your favorite. Yeah, I loved Echoes. Echoes, perfect example of a game that I played once all the way through. Only played a second time for a very quick run, just to finish up the last couple of medals that I got, or that I needed. Did the long grind of Thebes in order to get all of the ancient regalia. Loved the game. But then after finishing it, it's been like, do I really want to play it again? I don't know. Because I loved my first playthrough so much that I feel like it would kind of be... disrespectful is not the right word, but like, I wanted to end on that positive note, you know? Perfect run is such BS. You can only get them when you played the game, so you know what's coming. Hard mode awakening. Quite a lot of people want their first run to be a blind run. First run to be a perfect run, and leads to more harm than good. Yes. Because the whole thing about trying to make your blind run into your first run into a perfect run means that you are sacrificing the ability to have a blind run. Like, I generally, like, didn't used to, will fully admit, when I played FE4, I played with a recruitment guide. When I played FE5, 3CI, I played with a recruitment and secret levels guide. I've gone through that phase. But I definitely come back and say, I've definitely come back around to, dang, I wish I could experience these games blind for the first time. And I robbed myself. What the heck is happening? Oh, someone has both a... someone had both a Drunken Dwarf random event and is doing a Master Clue Scroll casket fighting a Brassican mage in the middle of the Zaya rune crafting dense essence mine. Fun stuff. I was very confused as to what was going on in the chat there. One thing we should change FE4 remake is we replace the humongous maps, replace the smaller ones as the prologue. I'm torn on that. Like, legitimately I am torn. Like, do I think some of the maps are a little too large for what they are? Do I think there's wasted space? Yes. Do I think that part of FE4... Oh, you have nothing. You have literally nothing. And I don't have any staffs or light magic in the convoy, so I'd have to, like, trade you a staff from Lana, which I don't really want to do, but Lana also just needs gold to repair Physic, because it's about to break. Okay. This is the whole, like... That's part of the problem with the whole FE4 castles stuff. I thought that she got a light tome But she started with one. Am I wrong in that? Do I have to clear one of the castles first? Do I have to clear one of the castles first in order to get her that tome? Yeah, there's Javier. And here's Johann. So Johann is 15 strength, 12 speed, 12 defense. Skill. 16 strength, 16 speed, 14 defense. 16 speed? He has more speed than I thought he did. Like, I still don't think he's good. I am actually tempted, though, by those extra points of stats. They're not good by any means. He is not, in any regard, a good unit. But it is tempting to see him as a viable unit. Arguably, you know? Okay, Silver Sword, wait. Wait on the church, I'll spend a little bit of gold to just get that 1 HP back. We'll see what happens. This is probably going to go horribly for me. Okay, sorry, catching up on chat, because y'all are actually having a conversation, which is fantastic for me. I rarely have this. Another reason why I haven't been doing a lot of streaming is that people just don't tune in to talk. Harold, what places are our sons doing? Tell them to take the rebels down. Change this prologue. It's new place to game so much gimmicks, so they couldn't plan for it. I think kind of defeats the intended purpose. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I am the biggest defender of Fog of War in most games in general. And I see it as such a demonized thing in the Fire Emblem community and Fire Emblem discussion because people just assume foreknowledge of the map. And it's so dumb. People just assume people are going to go on the wiki and look up the map and look up everything about it just because they don't have vision of the map. But I feel like that, not only does that defeat the purpose of Fog of War, it is actually transformative of Fog of War into the type of problem they claim it to be. Whereas Fog of War is so much more for mood setting, for like mechanical mood setting, mechanical interaction. Fog of War is great. I love it. It has its problems, sure. I'm not going to say it's flawless. But Fog of War has so much potential good going for it that people throw away by just, I'm going to look everything up. And it's frustrating to me. But anyway, that's my personal soapbox, and I feel like I've gone on that rant before. You can't plan for it, kind of needs new purpose. Like, I am mixed on the type of, like, unforeseen gimmicks thing. I think some unforeseen gimmicks can be interesting. I think some are ultimately only there to be cheap. If something is, hey, out of nowhere, you're just going to be randomly killed. Like, awakening ambush spawns that don't come from a staircase and are not flagged by the enemies ahead of time? Sure, because you're playing on Lunatic mode, randomly, you forgot to block this one tile that you didn't know you needed to block, and suddenly you're dead. Suddenly you lose a unit. And say, oh, well, don't leave your units unguarded. You don't have enough deployment slots to not. And also, Lunatic Awakening is designed so that the vast majority of your army is incapable of surviving an enemy attack. Like, the enemies are designed specifically so that your player units are incapable of surviving their attacks without you setting the field up perfectly for them. Ulster's way south of here. And so the idea is that, how to put it elsewise. And so it's like, okay, I think that's a lot of the reasons why people hate certain gimmicks is because of the way that they get used, particularly on higher difficulties in Fire Emblem. I don't necessarily have a problem with ambush spawn reinforcements. I have a problem with ambush spawn reinforcements that are strong enough to one round from full, like individually one round from full, the vast majority of your army. You know, it's like that's the degree that I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with there being gimmicks or there being weird things that you don't see coming. Like, I played Vestaria Saga and enjoyed it. I do have a problem with when those things you can't see coming are solely designed to screw you over and just, like, absolutely punish you and basically demand that you restart the map. Vestaria Saga also has some of those. I'm not going to say it's a perfect game. I am going to say that it has a lot of BS in its maps. You know. So, like I said, I'm mixed on that Valiant, but that's kind of my version of a take on that. Because spending 1/4 of my time just waiting for the enemies to meet my guys is a little too much. That's fair. Like I said, I don't think the size of the maps is inherently the problem. I think it's the amount of what are you necessarily doing with that size is the problem. You know, it's the good old-fashioned, it's not how big you are, it's what you do with what you got. And I think that FE4 does a overall poor job of managing its map size. I think some maps do it decently well. I think there's a lot of maps that do it poorly because they just add multiple turns of walking between everything for not much reason, combined with the multiple turns of... Oh shoot, Self needed to repair his sword. Combined with the multiple turns of, like, shuffling around and waiting and all that type of stuff that you have to do at the start of every... I guess it makes it a lot easier if I recruit... Wait, doesn't, like, one of their castles just go neutral? I don't want the pillory random event. Go away. Artificial... Okay, what is looking at? Okay, it's a bloodhound. It's fine if I get killed due to ambush spawns a binding blade, awakening 3 hours for a blind playthrough, but you shouldn't get upset over it if it's your first time. Sure. One more can. Fog of War can be good if the map design is good, not like a slog. Honestly, don't get the appeal of Fog of War. I'll feel artificial for the sake of it. I will say, my like for Fog of War does not originate in Fire Emblem. Straight up, it doesn't. My like for Fog of War comes from playing other games, because I will agree that the usage of Fog of War in Fire Emblem is pretty poor and problematic in general. I will say that the vast majority of the time it is not used in a good way. You know, that then triggers people to make the argument, well, what is a good way to use Fog of War? Do I even... What do I do with you? So, like, for instance, I'm a big fan of real-time strategy games. And a real-time strategy game, like a multiplayer real-time strategy game without Fog of War, is borderline non-functional. Heck, any multiplayer strategy game, I will say, without Fog of War becomes non-functional. I think Fog of War, while admittedly poorly used for a lot of single-player Fire Emblem, was the thing that made multiplayer Fire Emblem in Shadow Dragon not just playable, but enjoyable. Like, I never had any interest in multiplayer Fire Emblem Fates because it just became... You know, if you were fighting another player who knew what they were doing, it became the No Man's Land standoff, where you all just stand one tile just outside of range of the other unit, and then you're shuffling your units around that have that higher range until someone decides that it's time to engage, and that they're just going to bite that bullet because they think they can win if they force an engagement. You know? It's not interesting. It is fundamentally not interesting to play Fire Emblem. I guess I'm going with Johann. it's fundamentally not interesting to play Fire Emblem multiplayer without Fog of War. But I think that adding Fog of War to Fire Emblem multiplayer makes it so much more engaging, because you don't know where your opponent is. You don't know where they're hiding. You don't know where their units are, unless you're like spending resources or taking the time to scout out and do that. And then it allows you to play a lot of more interesting games. Maybe you have 83 rune crafting. Maybe you have cat and mouse Fog of War games. Maybe you have other stuff that you're doing. It provides for so much more opportunity to do that type of thing because you don't know where your opponent is. I think so. I guess in that sense, I think for player versus player, human versus human matchmaking, Fog of War is necessary. I think that the argument that is made, which is fair, of Fog of War doesn't work against the AI because the AI cheats the Fog of War. I agree that that is definitely require much more strategy instead of just stalling each other out. Exactly. Exactly. That's like the point. Is what I saw as the point. I'm taking Johann. Stop if you playing with your head, isn't there? Larcy, oh Larcy, your words are as sweet as birdsong, your eyes are those brilliant stars. Without you at my side, what purpose is there in life, what joy could possibly be? Battlefield, are you right out of your mind? You deny my heart no longer. What else can I do but be at your side? We are joining the Liberation Army. Now those are green units, you gotta be kidding. Johann beat me, Larcy? But he's not sided with your army too, the big-bowed fool. Fine by me. Attack. Johann's unit is the enemy now. Okay, that's roads. That's normal tile. Oh, you have a talk conversation. Okay. Julia, right? Are you okay without Lewin? Yes, I'm fine. So I've actually been worrying about you. Let me know and I'll get right on it. I got a little something for you. Mend staff. Okay, that's how we get the mend staff. Cool. Now Julia is not dead weight. I forgot that they had a conversation somehow. Okay, was there anything that you needed? Okay, just iron swords and an iron blade. Return band over here. Thanks, don't need it. Yeah. Saturday and Fire Emblem will be more engaging to play and will have more value in the future. Especially Johann first. Do you mind telling me your favorite FE4 pairings? Do I have any particular FE4 pairings that I don't... So, again, I've only played FE4 one time before this. And on that time, I had basically a lot of the easiest basic pairings. It was like, I had a really bad pairing that I guess was not bad story-wise. Like, it made sense story-wise, it just did not work mechanically. And that was... Okay, who did I have? I think it was literally Azel... and... name's spacing on me. Azel and the cleric, pretty sure was them. Then who was with Bridget? I forget. I don't really have any, like, quote, favorite pairings, because I don't think I've, played the game enough to really have any favorites mechanically speaking. And I don't really recall any details about them, like, relationship-wise, per se, enough to say a favorite in that sort of sense. Ideen. Yeah, Ideen. Yeah, thank you, chat. My brain is so spacey when it comes to that. Wait a second. I got... Okay, so here's a problem with the large maps. It is very, very easy to completely forget that you got units when they are on the opposite side of the map. Like, didn't I get Aaron and Arthur, like, over here somewhere? Where's the map button? Yeah, they're up here. So this is my first time doing Lewin Arthur as well. I didn't do it my first run because I did the... giving Arthur Lewin as a dad. This is my first time doing that. With the Bargain Band and the Magic Ring. And then we have Fee, who has every overpowered sword in the book. Sword or lance. It's just gonna be fantastic. There's Safara Castle. We have a steel axe. Heh. Fun. Yeah, I'm losing even just 1 or 2 turns to completely forgetting that these units are here is huge when it comes to stuff like this. Okay. Ah, that would be a kill if I hit twice. Yeah, as you can see also in streaming, you get a sense of how blank my brain goes when I have to do multiple things at once. It is hard to do multiple things at once. Also, I'm pretty sure I could have moved Johann, and I just didn't. That one's on me. Okay, so he deals 23 damage, does not double, cannot double, has Vantage. Meanwhile, this is Larce's only unit in range, only possible kill, will definitely kill. Rip villagers, literal brain rot. Yeah, it just streamer brain. Streamer brain is so real. Because, like, in order to make my unit design 101 videos, for instance, I have thoughts based on conversations that I have, or videos I watch, or just things that I have in my brain that I start, that start coming out of my brain. And I'm like, cool, okay. I have these thoughts, I can build off them, I can use them. This can be something, I can work with this. And then I go, and I open a Google Doc. And I might talk about it in Discord a little bit. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Then I open up a Google Doc. And I just kind of go stream of consciousness, I write it all out. And the way that I write is very different than the way that I speak. Such that I'm sure that if you're paying attention, I'm sure you probably noticed, my speaking mannerisms don't make any freaking sense whatsoever. I'm very scatterbrained in speaking, like, from the hip, I guess, as it were. Speaking off the top of my head. But while writing, I'm, like, very deliberate, almost to a fault, of I then go in and, oh, here's, like, exactly what I want to say, and then adding so much extra detail on top of that to make it just, like, almost way too much. And then I trim it down and focus it into something that is like, here is exactly what I wanted to say. Sometimes it takes a couple drafts, sometimes it comes out perfect. But my writing is so much stronger and more eloquent and efficient than my speaking ever is. And so, that's where I'm at. Is that I'm able to put out videos like the Unit Design 101 very quick, like, relatively quickly, but very succinctly, very short, sweet, to the point. Meanwhile, if I'm like streaming or something, I'm just gonna be rambling so freaking much. It's not gonna make any sense whatsoever. Okay, 3 hits to kill, that's fine. But yeah, so it's like I'm trying to keep up with chat and pay attention here. Only parent characters want nothing, don't enjoy support nonsense made Leaf. Sing best lord in the series. Love it. Ooh, that's not fantastic. You have what, 28 attack? Julie has 3 defense. That's not fantastic for her. We'll say that much. Oh, she might be in the perfect place to just die. Oh, no, no, I can cover. It's fine. It's fine. We're cool now. We're fine. Everything's fine. Heck, also, green units are coming next, right? Green units are next? Yeah, I think green units are next. I forget the order in which the armies go. Okay. I moved Fee and Arthur this time. Yes, I did. Cool. Mark Twain, I'm being excited. I didn't have time. Yes, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. Something to that effect. If I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. Yeah, because it's the extra effort that it takes to edit down, be concise, and make your point better and more clearly. I had that drilled into me from a college course that I took, which I will say is probably the most beneficial and helpful college course that I have ever taken. It was a graduate level class, but I was able to take it as an undergrad because it was part of my major. Did not know what I was getting into when I signed up for the class. Hardest class I ever took. So glad that I took it by the end because I learned so much more in terms of how to write as well as how to think and how to attack arguments. That whole video on, stop, support your assertions, stop using unsupported assertions, was just like lesson number 1 of that whole course. And it was so valuable to me that I wanted to share it. And it broke my heart that so many people went to great lengths to argue against me in the comments instead of taking what I had to say for what it was. I don't mean to say that I need you to stop everything and listen to me and praise me of oh great, this person has come down from the heavens with this magical knowledge. No, I don't want to be praised like that. I don't need to be praised like that. Oh, they're just gonna kill you, Javier, and rob me of my boss kill experience, aren't they? But what I would have liked to have is an actual discussion about that. And I guess some discussion did come of it from the comments there. But it did kind of hurt. But it did kind of hurt my heart a little bit just to kind of see that. And to be like, oh, this is the internet after all. Much as I would love to trick myself into saying it's not, or into thinking, oh, I'm better than this, I'm not better than you, it's a very arrogant way to phrase it. But much as I would have liked to be like, hey, I can use this as a teaching moment, I have an audience that likes to listen to me, that seems to treat treat what I have to say with some respect. I can use this to, use Fire Emblem to teach actual skills for people that have been helpful to me. And then it makes me sad when other people don't see them as having the value that I see them as having. But again, that's also probably down to me just not being good at explaining myself, and definitely down to me not definitely down to not being in the right place for it. of like, sure, the classroom is a very different learning environment from a YouTube video. I'm not saying that's not the case. But that's definitely a part of... And I guess I'll come down to it, a little bit part of my disdain with YouTube as a platform. And I don't mean to, like, hate on this or hate on anyone, but it does get to me. It does definitely get to me. It does definitely wear on me when I'm putting out videos trying to talk about, oh, here's all the different aspects of Thieves, utility and combat and whatnot, and the only comments that I get are, oh, you should have, like, this person has so much better combat than that person. What are you talking about? Why did you rank them there? And I'm like, I literally do not care about what the rankings are. I only listed the rankings because I needed something to put on in the background that would flow well and make sense. And that wasn't gonna, like, and the tier list format was... Frankly, the tier list format's been getting old. Okay. What was we saying? Yeah, Mark Twain, create debate points. It's crazy that the internet can be even worse elsewhere. I feel like I'm one of the most open online communities of discussion. You know, you say that. I find mixed. For lack of a better term, I'll say mixed on that. Yeah, what's your speed? 11 plus 20. So for SETI, I guess I'm not doubling anyway, unless say Adept proc. So I might as well save for SETI uses and just cast Elwind and see what happens. I'm not in a rush here. Yeah, I'll save for SETI for now. Because if I get the crit or the Adept... Like, I need the crit or the Adept to kill anyway, because I can't double because I don't have Pursuit. So I will say, in response to Fire Emblem is one of the more open online communities to discussion, I will say yes and no. And the comparison I want to make is one that I'm 99% sure the vast majority of you will not understand. So it's a bad comparison to make. But I have to make it anyway because this is how my brain works. In just sorting things and making it click and make sense like that. You know, before you cancel me, hear me out. The Fire Emblem community, in that sense, is similar to what I understand of the Jewish community. In the sense of, it is part of the culture of the community to debate. A debate within the community is basically part of being a part of the community. Is that you're not really a part of the community if you're not able to debate, like, unit choices up and down the board, you know, or something like that. And so it is that debate, it is those elements of debate and discussion and all that, which actively move, which actively put the Fire Emblem community together, like actively hold them together. And I think that it's similar to like with Judaism in terms of like you have the different levels of orthodoxy where they argue about the specific interpretations of the law and the prophets and all of that type of stuff all the time. And it's not because they're like upset at each other, it's not because they're trying to prove each other wrong, it's because it's part of their culture to debate and discuss in order to deepen understanding. And I feel like on a surface level, that is what the Fire Emblem community thinks it's doing. But it's something that I don't know if it's actually doing it as much as it thinks it is. Yeah, perfect 2-shot, perfect 2-round. No questions asked. No Forsetti needed. Magic ring all the way, that's all you need. I don't know. So that's part of my issue with the Fire Emblem community is that it's like, or when I say that yes, it's open to discussion, and I will say, frankly, only because I've seen the rest of the internet, can I say with any degree of certainty that it is any more open to discussion than anywhere else on the internet. But I'm not saying that it's like some sort of... But I can't say that it's some sort of haven of, like, honest discussion, like some sort of school of Athens, as it were. It's like, we're people, at the end of the day. People have thoughts, and people have opinions, and people have hot takes, and people have flaws, and people latch onto certain ideas and kind of just assume them and run with them. People have assumptions that they run with. I think it's always been odd to me how heated some friendly discussion gets when at the end of the day it's single-player games. It's not like it's a competitive game where you need to optimize because you're playing another human with a brain. Exactly. And so it's like, you know what? I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it, and you're not going to like that I'm talking about it, but you can't deny it. What the heck happened with Fire Emblem Engage and the community? Can I just say that much? What honestly happened with Engage and the community? Because I feel like Fire Emblem Engage was honestly like a B+ game. B+ A- game. Like, it's like a B+ game, maybe a B. Story has issues, sure. Gameplay is fun at first, but very brain-draining, and then has its own issues on repeat playthroughs. Yes. The discussion of the community around Engage. Yes, exactly what it says. The most heated and most pointless discussion. Because it ultimately came to a head of literally nobody cared what you thought. But everyone wanted you to know what they thought. Well, Imperial Sods won't stand a chance at all. And Engage is the peak of what I'm going to call falsely misguided, misdirected. Like, you call it discussion, but this is not what discussion is. I think Engage was a fine game. I think the degree to which the community went absolutely mental around it was not okay. The number of friendships and relationships, business relationships, like, between, like, YouTubers and whatnot, the number of things that I've seen happen because of Engage discussion. The number of negative things I have seen happen because of people talking about units in Fire Emblem Engage is mind-blowing. I'm sure that there were people that complained and broke... Oh, there was a skill ring there. Cool. Send an item to supply. I guess I'm sending the Iron Sword because I do not care about it. Skill +5. Sure. Like, I'm not saying Engage was the most toxic Fire Emblem game by weight of discussion. Not at all. Am I? Maybe I am. Sorry, I opened my mouth and I spoke without actually thinking about the words I was saying. Flash... not even gonna say the name of those two archers. Illusion of choice. Engage is good, Engage is bad. I know you're through your debate about Three Houses. I saw that on Fire Emblem S posts. I saw that on Fire Emblem S posts. It was like the top-rated thing of all time for Fire Emblem S posts because it's so true. Because, like, okay. What... I think part of it... I think the most of it is actually not Engage's fault. Congratulations on Threshold. Thank you so much. It's been a long journey, and the Unit Design 101 series has frankly carried this channel far, far more than I would ever say. But anyway, what I'm saying is back to what I was saying, is like, it's so crazy to see how Engage collapsed everything, and so much above its weight class. That it's like, honestly, in a lot of ways, the Fire Emblem community is dead to me. And I hate saying that, because I feel like saying that out loud on the channel is like burning my source of revenue. But like, the Fire Emblem community is dead to me after what Engage did to it. Because it's not even necessarily what Engage did to it alone, it's what 3 houses into Engage did to it. And I just don't want to be a part of that. Got so out of town, people followed 3 houses in PvP. Yeah, exactly. 3 Houses was a game that was very bold in trying to do a ton of things in every axis. And the more things you try to do, the more your flaws will show. But at the same time, it still needs to be said, you tried to do a lot of things, and you were pretty darn good at a lot of them, even if you weren't ideal in most of them. FE community was dead to you since 2013 and you're fine. Don't worry, it's fine. The community has always been, you know, in a state of living undeath. Such is the way. This is the way. If anything, it's probably a good thing that the Fire Emblem Reddit died. Because it means it didn't... It means that the place that people went to... The place that opinions went to die became YouTube instead of Reddit. Hi everyone! Mithril Zenith here, sharing hot takes with you on, 24/7. Curious to see what the next game will do? Yes, I actually am. Because Engage was so different from Three Houses, and the response was so all over the place. Three Houses isn't perfect, it was ambition on what I wanted to do, and credit you where it worked. Yeah, it's like Three Houses. Like, people always say it needed more time. I think that I'm not the type of person that just kind of blindly says it needs more time in order to, like, fix it, as if time fixes all ails, because sometimes time creates ails. Time can create a lot of ailments, especially in the video game world. We've seen time and again, any sort of Kickstarter project that makes it big, oh, you got a big Kickstarter going, cool. Then they blow away their goal, then they add on a bunch of, not benchmarks, but like, they blow away their Kickstarter goal, cool, so now they're doing, what's it called? Milestones. Like, expanded milestones, and then they keep expanding, and they keep expanding. And then sooner or later you end up with this Franken game that's 500 million milestones long, has vastly surpassed the scope of the original, and all the extra additions are just taking away from the core. I think that's one of the biggest problems with gaming right now in general, is that so many extraneous additions are robbing people of the core enjoyment and core engagement loops the games have. I'm always going to be first on the list for people complaining that games need to back up and simplify. But I will also say credit where credit's due, because there are some games that do have a scope that, frankly, they need to fill it with more in order to approach that scope. And it can be very impressive when that scope is done properly. And Three Houses, for all its issues, for all its scope-based issues, did a lot of good where it worked. It was a solid B to B plus in everything that it tried to do. But let's not forget, like, Shinigami is saying, Three Houses became very much its own thing and was not the Fire Emblem game for everyone. It couldn't be. How could it be? In some ways, it was a Fire Emblem game for so many people, but it's mind-boggling to me how it sold so well. Fire Emblem Three Houses, to me, has something of a Final Fantasy VII effect. And give me a second while I think of how to phrase my follow-up to that. Because I did not play Final Fantasy VII growing up. My first experience with Final Fantasy VII was 2 years ago? 3 years ago? 2 or 3 years ago. I started playing through all the Final Fantasy games. Okay, several years ago, around 4-ish... 2020, I started playing through all the Final Fantasy games because I started playing Final Fantasy XIV with my friends. I played Final Fantasy VII in 2021 into 2022, I think, if my memory is clear. I had never played it before. I was vaguely familiar with a lot of the plot points. Self can talk with Lana. Everyone else can talk with Seliph. Cool. I was vaguely familiar with a lot of the plot points, but I didn't know exactly how it all worked and how it all wrapped up. I was not super familiar with any of, like, the mechanics or any of that, so it was all fresh and new to me. Final Fantasy VII is a very good game. But it's so weird to me that that's the one that everyone latched onto. To the point where the only reason I can even think of that so many people latched onto it that it spawned its own sub-universe of Final Fantasy games has to be because, like, the only reason it makes sense to me why that was even potentially a thing has to be because it was so many people's first Final Fantasy game, or first 3D game, or first, like, big, long JRPG. It was so many people's firsts that it became that thing to them. It became that immutable thing that was, no matter how hard you try, you can never surpass this thing. And I think that because Final Fantasy VII became that, it's been almost... It's been this impossible thing to disown, to detach from it, and it just kind of lives on in people's memories and lives on with this massive legacy that is frankly bigger than the game itself deserves. But I can't necessarily argue with the fact that it does indeed exist, and it's not like it's like... I don't know. I don't know if anything I'm saying is making any sense right now. But with Final Fantasy VII, of like, it's still a very good game, but it's weird as heck. And it's really weird to me that that's the one out of all the Final Fantasy games that people latched onto. Hence, like I say, I think it's the big marketing push, it's the big people's first big JRPG, people's first Final Fantasy, the first one on PlayStation, people's first experience with like the 3D PlayStation cutscenes that at the time were really good, you know, all that type of stuff. Made me feel in Pal Region it was the first 6 were released there. Didn't have Dragon Quest 8 though. Yeah, and so I think you can't necessarily say all the same things about Fire Emblem Three Houses, because there were plenty of other Fire Emblem games, there are plenty of other things, like all these different Like, Fire Emblem has existed for all this extra time. You know, you can't say all the same things about it. But I am willing to bet that for a lot of people, it has a similar effect because it was the first time that they dug into a Fire Emblem game like this. It sold like twice as much as the last best-selling Fire Emblem game, which I think was like Awakening. Or maybe it was Fates if you combine sales of all the different Fates games. I forget exactly how they combine that for the numbers. But it's one of those things of like, you can't say with that amount of sales figures that a very significant portion of them was not just 1,000,001 people. Oh, I don't have any money. And unfortunately, because of the way this works, is that Seliph is now nowhere near the battle. So I guess he's going to this house to get money. I guess we're not getting a Seliph promotes at the end of Chapter 6. Because with a map this big, there's absolutely no freaking way Seliph is reaching this army in time. Did I engage this way too early? Almost certainly. Is this just the life we have to live now? Also, yes. Also, what do you have? A Brave Axe? Is there any way that I can just... I thought you had more stuff. Where did all my magical swords go? I guess you don't have any magic, so... You have magic. It's okay. Ulster can't run. Ulster can't escape. So Ulster should attack? No, you should attack, and then we'll fall back. If I can kill the leader, that's the only one that I'm really scared of. The rest of them all just have 1,000,000 hand axes, and they'll be easy enough to drop. Okay. What do you think is a hot take in the Fire Emblem community? Like, not specifically my hot take, but like a hot take in the... That is such a broad... Oh, that's a hot take, and I don't think that's correct at all. Like that's not even a... Kaga being a mediocre game designer, that is not the take at all. The take to take by is that Kaga is a very single-minded game designer, because Kaga is a brilliant map designer. When he hits his stride with maps in Thracia or the Sagas, he does incredible things with them. Like, the thing is, his design, like, I don't agree with that at all. I think his writing is fine. Like, decent writer, sure. I don't think he's like a, you know, mind-bendingly good writer. I think he gets too much praise. Like, granted, I also haven't played all the Kaga Sagas, but also they're not all officially translated. A lot of that is translation effort does a lot of heavy lifting in whether people think something is good or bad. The translation and localization does. Yeah, it's like Kaga does not design his games to be balanced on a unit-by-unit basis. Kaga designs his games to be interesting maps to play through and interesting stories to play through where the mechanics tell stories. And the mechanics, particularly on the maps, are puzzles that the player has to figure out, that they play out in a certain way, in certain orders, because that's the mind coming to play. He is a brilliant game designer, in a sense, but I will also agree that he is a game designer of a very specific type of game. He viewed Fire Emblem as a series as a simulation, a strategy simulation game first, and as an RPG maybe tertiarily when he was first designing it. And so it's like, you can't say that he's a mediocre game designer in any seriousness if you are familiar with his work from a design perspective. Like, I understand that people have that take. I don't agree with it at all. Like, if you're saying that that's a hot take in the Fire Emblem community, I'm saying sure, I haven't seen that take aside from you presenting it to me, but if that is a take that exists, I heavily disagree. What I will say is that Kaga designs games for with a very specific intent, and that if you are not... I just got Larsa killed. Okay, this guy's a lot stronger than I thought. You know, screw it, I don't care anymore. I don't actually care anymore. Ah, Miracle Sword! You can't hit me this turn. Well, there goes a lot. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done. Myrmidon moment. Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone just left the stream after that. Oh, one sec, I have to bring this up. I'm actually upset about that. Oh, I should have cleaned this up. Yeah. And so it's like, I think... But also, like I said, you can't put that as a vacuum statement, though, because you're saying Kaga is a brilliant map designer, while at the same time putting all the maps of Fire Emblem 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against each other, and saying these all came from the same team. People rotated in and out, I'm sure. But it's one of those, like, by saying something as broad as he is just straight up a good or bad game designer, whatever designer, misses a lot of the point completely. Okay. I need to be able to guarantee a hit. I know Miracle will not re-proc. So I'm just getting the kill and fleeing the heck away. Because that Brave Axe, far more dangerous than I gave it credit for. But I guess if we're having a scuffed run, we're having a scuffed AF run. Oh, well, who needs Larsa anyway? People on the internet tell me she's bad. I'm sure that's not the argument that, you know, we're supposed to be having right now. Oh, lover crit. I guess it's sibling crit. Nice. If that didn't... Oh, I guess it's a crit bonus. It's not a guaranteed crit, like the lover crit is. Okay. Oh, this is not good at all. to do it this way, and I hate doing it this way. Welcome to Fire Emblem, everyone. Or all these people are like, oh, you shouldn't be scared of these guys. They all have hand axes. They can never hit anything. Meanwhile, in hand axe land... I guess technically was all the fault of that one guy with the brave axe. Usually, yeah, no worries. But yeah, and this is coming back to what I was saying before. It's one of those things of any statement needs context. No statement. The vast majority of statements are not true in a vacuum, particularly when you are talking about a qualifying statement, like descriptive or qualifying or what have you. Like saying someone is good at this or bad at this or whatnot is like, okay, well, what's your context for that? Where's the context for it? Where's the purpose? Where's the point that you're trying to make by saying that? Good as opposed to what? Bad as opposed to what? Like, you can say you're mediocre, but sure, like mediocre game designer, but what does that mean? In what way, to whom are you mediocre? Faring alright so far? I have something for you. I found this in Safara Castle. It's a light tome called Aura. You get to be the nuke that Linda is, but probably worse. But you get to fight now. And Seliph is getting money. It was family dear for his father rescued and helped raise Prince Shannon. The other thing that I'm upset about, though, is like, don't all of Larce's items disappear now? Like, every single one of those swords, aren't all those swords just, like, gone now? Isn't that how that works? Because I'm very sad if that's how that works. Like, it makes sense. I understand if that's how that works, but I'm just sad if it is. Oh, they all have 10% hit chance on me. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that nonsense at all. If it means enough of them decide to attack Arthur, he can actually die. This is 1 RN. Don't get it twisted, you will die. We have gone down this road before. I think Killer Bow's still my best. No, Brave Bow probably would have been better. Yeah, Brave Bow would have been the better choice for getting kills. If you revive her, she still has her inventory. Okay, I will let you know in Chapter 9, when I get the revive staff, if she still has her inventory. That's where we're at. Honestly, this shield sword is the best thing for Ulster to have, because it means that he's not just gonna die in the same way by missing 2 dodges. Yeah, because I did pass it down. I passed down the genes to use it. Unfortunately, that's on... shoot, what's his name? Person we're not getting until... Dragon Riders of Thracia. Okay, you are fine. Shoot, your defense is actually good enough. You can probably... You can tank 4 hits, right? That's all that's left is 4 of them? Yeah, you take 8 each time, and then you die to the 5th one, so... Yeah, you can definitely tank 4 hits. Okay, Fee flies far this way to get the healing she needs. Yeah. Corporal, yeah. But yeah, so that's what it is, that's what it's like. Yeah. It's like, okay, so all that really was lost was... Okay, because I sold the wing clipper. I sold the... She didn't have the brave sword. I forget what ring she had, if any. I think she had at least one ring. Sigurd's silver sword, the crit silver sword was lost. The silver blade was lost. So it was the crit silver sword and the silver blade that were both lost. That I'm not particularly happy about losing. Also the fact that I'm definitely not particularly happy about losing Larce just as a unit, because then that means I don't get to do nearly as many crazy Myrmidon Swordmaster shenanigans. But it does go to show that she is not out of the box capable of said shenanigans. Where people kind of talk about her in tier lists as if she is out of the box capable, I've learned that's not the case. That is not the case at all. Myrmidons and out of the box capable. I made the video on Myrmidons that like did better than any other video on my channel. I should know better than anyone else that Myrmidons are kind of by design not out of the box useful. They do need significant assistance, and apparently the assistance of inheriting a very good crit silver sword and good skill combination is insufficient. Okay, Brave Bow it up. Yeah. But yeah, that's what it's like. Anyway, things need context. And so it's like, okay, would you say Larce is better than Ulster? I think most people would say yes. Would you say Larce is better than Ulster in this moment? I think most people would say no, because Larce is not alive. Context. Oh. Would you say Larce is a bad unit because she died? No, because that was just my fault. I made a play, I made a decision, because I saw a really bad situation and said, hey, you know what needs to happen? That boss needs to die. I accurately said the boss was... I didn't say it, but I was thinking the boss is really the only threatening unit in this pack. I just overestimated my ability to actually take him down before touching the rest of the pack. And that's on me. Oh, come on, no Astro Proc? Sadness. Well, at least your level ups are good. Mostly because you're a Gen 2 unit with double Holy Blood. Of course your growths are going to be good. If they weren't, it's a problem. Yeah, so it's complicated. but I generally don't like making broad statements when I am aware of the statements I am making. For that reason specifically, because with that context, a lot of things change and make more or less sense. Miracle Sword freaking saved the day, though. Thank you, FE, for bringing that Miracle Sword, for having it on you. I'm so glad that I left it on you. Actually, can't Seliph just walk down this mountain? Probably can. Probably faster than walking all the way around. Yeah, it might actually be similar. Happy 4K! Hello, hello! Welcome, Splice. How was your stream? How'd everything go? How'd your relax and chill XCOM go? Lose another campaign yet? I just lost a unit who people tend to say has some of the best combat, but she obviously didn't have it yet. Because the boss hit twice with a Brave Axe, and she did not have that much HP. Do we count... okay. Okay, Splice. Answer this. How many times did you play Operation Gate Crash today? Is that a better question to ask? That might be a better question to ask, because Operation Gate Crash, oh boy, that's gonna set the stage, I guess. Speaking of context, I was telling everyone that context is important when you're making qualifying statements, when you're talking about things in ways that are like flat or reductive or something like that. What's the context here? Actually, ask the question of hot takes because... I wouldn't worry about them. They pop in and out. It's fine. They were in the stream for like 2 seconds, said one thing, and then left, but whatever. Just twice? Okay. 0. Yeah, gate crash, yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean. You knew what I meant. Okay, you played it... Okay, so you had a false start... and then got through that maybe, if not failed right away, progressed to 1 chapter. And then you were okay. Okay. We got a lot of ground to cover before we can be useful again. But yeah, anyway, thank you for joining the stream, talking about it. I'm only going to be on for... I'll probably just finish off this chapter. Which you wouldn't think is going to take that long, but yeah, who knows? Who knows with how long... how much... You know, this is what people mean when they say that Fire Emblem 4 maps are too big. It's not because 64 by 64 in a vacuum is too big. It's 64 in a vacuum with this much nothing in it is too big. I think that there are definitely a lot of FE4 maps that could be cut down a fair bit because the endless walking is not super helpful, or at least not super interesting. There is nothing that you are walking to or from in an interesting way. I think, for instance, that having the map be this big, like, what happens in this map? You start up here, you fight 1 or 2 enemies over here, then you fight a decent cluster here, and then you have a couple turns of movement. And then you fight a cluster of enemies here, and you have a turn or 2 of movement. Then you get to the castle, fight some enemies here, take the castle. Then you have 1 or 2 turns of movement, and you have the choice between the Axe Knights and the Axe Fighters. They both are collapsing on you, and so this, you know, that creates some tension. and then you beat them, and then you have a number of turns of movement to get over here and capture this castle. You're taking out the bandits in between, which the bandits make sense to have, like, the way that they're spaced out and take down the villages makes sense to be spaced out. And then you have this Axe Knight army that is slowly marching up here. We'll take this castle, and then we'll come around to battle you. If you, for some reason, took your whole army to this castle, and then brought back, you would be fighting the Axe Knight army somewhere around here. And so it's like, but you have no reason to, because it's just the one boss guarding the castle. Everyone else is a forward troop over here. So I think that in terms of areas where the movement makes sense, the size makes sense, this area right here of the map, where you have the Axe Fighters over here, you have the Axe Knights over here, and you have later the Axe Knight army moving up constantly to put a time pressure on you dealing with this and the castle of your choice, that makes sense. That is a good use of the space. What's not a good use of the space is after you've dealt with this, there's nothing between me and the rest of these castles. There's only the boss here and nothing in this whole area of space. This whole section of space goes basically unused. And so it's like you have some elements where the space makes sense, where it's all crafted into the movement. Right about here. This makes sense for the space that it is. This is a little too big. This is a little too big. This is way too big. That's the context of, is this map too big? Well, no, it's just that you have large swaths of nothing happening in the map, which makes it feel way too big. Also, what type of weapon do you have? Is that a lance? Then you have a silver axe and a thief sword. Why do you have a thief sword? Whatever. Yeah, I don't know if anyone was listening to that rant, but hopefully that made sense. But yeah, speaking of Fog of War, Splice, if you are here, XCOM is one of the other games that is a single-player game, single-player turn-based tactics game that I think uses Fog of War brilliantly, and without Fog of War, would not be nearly as interesting of a game. Like, sure, it has some maps that don't have it, if I remember right, but the vast majority of maps do. And I think that makes the game far more interesting, because you are basically put in a position of having to explore the map every time. There might, you know, the maps themselves might be statically generated. Like, the maps themselves might be static, but there is enough... Why are you not moving? I told you to move. The maps themselves might be static, but the placement of enemies on the maps, enemies and objectives and the like, is not static. It is fluid and procedurally generated in such a way so as to make the game, in my opinion, far more interesting when it has Fog of War than when it doesn't. Like, you take out the Fog of War from XCOM 2, for instance. From the vast majority of those maps, I think it makes the game far weaker than if you were to leave it in. And I think anyone who's played XCOM 2 will probably agree with me on that. Like, the thing that people complain about XCOM 2 is the map timers. And I'm also of the opinion that the map timers are a good, well-designed thing, that they are designed to specifically be on the edge of how quickly you need to realistically be going to clear the map, and that it is very realistic to be able to clear the map within the timer, but it is designed to have you be clearing the map with just a scant few turns left on the timer. And if you do what some people do and double the turn counter, you might as well just be removing it. If you do what people do and like double the timer on the Avatar project, you might as well just remove it because it no longer is a factor. People are so afraid of time limits, of turn limits, of any sort of constraint, it stresses them out too much. And so, because they only want to do the safest plays. We see this in Fire Emblem with Fog of War. People only want to do the safest plays, and so Fog of War setups, throw them off so much that they just, like, it turns their brain off. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to engage with it anymore. And I think that's a really sad and poor way to play the game, because it's like, okay, cool. You have this cool potential setup for you, which has a specific design purpose, but then you're just kind of throwing it out the door because, oh, this is not the way that I would want to play. It doesn't support the way that I prefer to play. Though this also gets into the point of we're seeing more and more games over time lean heavily into... Wait, besiege with an armor slayer. How much is... Oh, that's very bad for me. Like, he doesn't double me. He can't double me. I'll wait. I'll wait for Sella for something else to show up. Yeah, this is again one of those things where it's like, okay, now you're just waiting on the enemy. And it's kind of frustrating. Welcome to the map design. I totally understand why people say the maps are too big when you play maps like this. Like, okay, you know exactly what's going to happen. I'm just going to walk my units forward, and Asbel's going to kill the boss, and then I'm going to spend another 10 turns walking Seliph to the end. This is also another reason why people ally with Yohalva over here to get the Axe Fighters, because then this castle auto-claims itself, you don't have to claim it, and you can just walk Seliph straight down to fight Johann and his troops, that castle, all of the Axe Knights, and that, I think, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest, that is the real strength of recruiting Yohalva over Johann. It's in not needing Seliph to go all the way out to the middle of Egypt in order to claim a castle. No, this is Chapter 6. That's Chapter 3. Eldigan is long dead. Lachesis is long gone. Eldigan is long dead. Lachesis is long gone. We are just kind of stuck sitting here. Lester, stop wasting the uses on that killer bow. And get the 1 round anyway? Even though that was more like 3 rounds in 1 round of combat? Look. When you have the build, sometimes the build just goes off. Yeah, but now literally I have nothing else to do but sit and wait. Like, I guess I can build supports that I'm never gonna use? I don't know. I should probably be moving units to castles in order to manage their inventories, but I'm gonna be in a castle to manage their inventory at the start of the next chapter. Thank you. Sword freedom and peace to Azak. I guess that's fine. I guess Lana can get some more heal experience? I don't know. Good job, Lester. Now you just have to wait 10 turns. Yeah, exactly. And it's like... So it's like, okay, in general, if the maps were better paced, I don't have a problem with them being large. The problem is not their size, the problem is their emptiness. And that emptiness would be a problem regardless of size. It just happens to be more of a problem because the map is particularly large and particularly empty. Like, I feel like there are other maps in the game that use their size very well. I feel like Chapter 6 is having replayed it, Chapter 6 is definitely not one of them. And I think that certain other chapters are definitely not chapters that use their size well either. Chapter 4, for instance, uses it very poorly. Chapter 5 uses the size very well overall. Like, Chapter 5 is a map in which I can broadly say, oh yeah, people, like, the map makers knew what they were doing and knew how to fill a map of that 64 by 64 size properly. Okay, quick check. Did I actually claim all of the villages? There's 1, there's 2, there's 3... there's 4, 5, yes, and 6, or 3, whatever, yeah. Okay, all villages are claimed. Everyone's gotten all their healing that I care to do. If I was optimizing, I would be doing more of this, but I don't care. Did I need to actually claim every castle? Probably not. I might have only needed to claim this one. But I'm in the habit of claiming every castle, so I figured I just might as well do it. So yeah, well done, Seliph. Thanks to you, Isaac is free from the Emperor's grip. The world's at a critical turning point. Backstory. First, it wasn't that bad. Restricting and constraining, but we still got a good few years of peace out of it. But then he changed his mind. Empire turned into an oppressive force we all know and love today. Never did I think they could be more than rumors. I may or may not stream more on the regular. If Tuesdays continue to be free for me, I might do this more often. It would definitely be more impromptu than this. I think today has definitely been a standout difference where I went out of my way to stream because of 4K subs. I wanted to be open to any questions or comments or the like. But it is something that's, yeah, I fully admit, I'm not really a streamer. It takes a lot of effort from me. The original Roy Merlinus talk. Can't afford to go doubting yourself now. Oh yeah, Seliph and Lewin constantly talking. Well, I didn't get all the other talk conversations, but I hope nothing important came from them. He's in pretty urgent need of backup. Better get going as soon as possible. Lucian will leave Isaac in the care of its citizens. Odds are we'll run into Prince Shannon on the way. And then we will save that game position. Yeah, I will say streaming does just drain me a lot. Not something I'm used to, not something I'm super built for. It's just fluff, whatever. Prince Leaf had raised an army with the aid of the Knight Finn, but they have suffered a devastating loss before King Bloom's vast hordes and are stranded in hostile grounds. Thracia, chapter 17, I want to say? 19? Whatever the map is right at the end of the route split. I want to say 17. Guided by Prince Ishtar and the Round General Liza. Actually, yeah, because you have the route split, you have the retreat, and then you have, like, the holdout map, the second defense map in Fire Emblem, that you then have to kill the boss at the end of, which is kind of weird. Or it's a survive for 15 turns and defeat the boss. You can defeat the boss, but you still then have to survive for 15 turns. If you survive for 15 turns, the game doesn't end, the boss just moves, and you have to kill the boss. It's a little bit weirdly designed. Still cool, but definitely odd, definitely different. And then immediately after that is you see Seliph and Julia in FE5 sprite mode, which is a little weird to see when you're so used to their FE4 sprites. Definitely more taxing in a lot of ways, not just me. Yeah, fair enough. And it's something that at the end of a stream, I don't feel like I've been energized by it. I feel like I'm exhausted by it, and I feel like because of the natural way that people slowly peter out and tune out and whatnot, it feels like I'm just kind of like losing that energy and losing the enthusiasm as well. Chapter 20. Okay, yeah, so it was 19 is the big retreat, and then 20 is the defend map, which is supposedly happening during this chapter, Chapter 7 of FE4. And this is why you can't necessarily have a remake that squishes the two games together, because it's like, well, what the heck are you doing here? You would have the vast majority of a game in Thracia behind you. Meanwhile, all your other Gen 2 units are barely starting out with one chapter each to their name, like with one chapter to their name. And yet Selip's supposed to be this giant liberation force, this, in Thracia terms, this massive ball of confidence and leadership and charisma that puts Leaf into a massive throe of self-doubt. And then Leaf goes on and does his own thing without joining Seliph in Thracia. So it's like, you want to talk canon, you want to talk canon clashing, that's not gonna happen. It's just a massive canon clash that is gonna be, you know, you physically, not even canon clash, but like gameplay mechanical clash. It's just not really gonna line up. As far as just keeping yourself entertained. Indeed. And so it's like, okay, I'll do a chapter, and then I'll kind of just get bored a little bit and kind of want to stop naturally anyway. And then when I want to stop, I feel like the people in the stream want me to stop unless there's a big push for people to keep watching. Plus, I don't know about you, but I tend to be a very quiet person when I'm to myself. Like, I don't talk unless there are other people around me that I am talking to or talking for. I guess maybe a better way to put it. Like, I will talk for the people around me. Not for, like, on behalf of or in place of, but for as in, like, performer mindset will take root. And I will talk for the sake of talking. But it's not going to be something that I do by myself. And so, like, when I'm playing a game by myself, I'm just quiet and sitting there, saying nothing, just playing the game, just enjoying it myself. And it's very, very different than me getting on stream, and then I feel the need to, I just need to be a constant stream of words. Doesn't matter if those words make sense, I'm just saying them out. Because if I stop talking, the stream stops being interesting. And that's just what it is. Like, if I'm not saying anything, or not doing anything particularly interesting in the game, the stream stops being interesting. And more often than not, it's, even if I'm doing interesting stuff in the game, if I'm not talking, the game needs to be so much more interesting than the game would normally be just by playing, in order for me to feel like I'm actually doing something worthwhile, in order for you, the viewer, to feel like you're watching someone worth watching, or listening to something worth listening to. So I'm just going to provide you with a constant stream of words until I have to stop and think. which is not necessarily conducive for top-tier gameplay, and not conducive for my own... for my voice, for one, and for my own mental, like, sanity, either. Because I get very mentally and emotionally exhausted, despite the fact of whether I'm physically exhausted or not. It's the mental and emotional exhaustion, which just is like, I don't have that muscle, that endurance built up in order to have that flow, have that spread, have that work function. So it's like, and this is where it's like, sure, I call on my, 7 years of choir from junior high and high school, but it's not quite the same, because, that was many years ago now. Here's Finn. He did promote. He's exactly level 20. Has a silver lance and an iron lance. Good stuff. Here's Leaf. He does not have the pursuit ring, because I left that on Dermot, but he has the light brand, iron sword, and a skill ring. That skill +5, I'm sure, is going to be very valuable. And here's Nana, who has mend and heal and return. So if I need to evac someone out of here, I can just cast return on them and send them home. Earth sword and an iron sword. These are bandits that I need to run out and kill. The Ulster Knights are nothing compared to Silverlance Finn. He can ride out and just smash all of them. The only thing really worrisome is like the Thunder Mage and the Commander, who I think if he's alive will constantly get reinforcements. We have all these Dark Mages with Jormungand Tomes that have 90 hit. That's more than I thought. It's specifically those Jormungand Tomes that have 90 hit that always worry me about sending Shannon to just go in and take the castle. Like, people say, oh, just have him take the castle. He'll be fine. It's like, are you sure about that? Because I'm not sure about that. Also, was it Patty that needed to talk to Shannon? No, Shannon needs to talk to Patty. Also, Patty with the Sleep Edge. That'll be useful. But 12 weight, so that kind of sucks. So she'll be using the Slim Sword a lot, probably. And then we get in here. Anyone wanna fight in the arena? I will probably just do some arena while I'm sitting here talking, because yeah. Anyway, what's going on? What are people saying? It makes sense when you're playing FE yourself. We'll talk out loud and you just silly. Yeah, no. I'll give commentary here and there, but it's not really going to be my focus. Whereas something where if I'm on stream, it kind of has to be my focus. And the gameplay is more just like a background character. Oh yeah, no, we are equipping Brave Sword against a Thunder Mage. I think the stars work in the arena. Yes, they do. Okay, the stars work in the arena, you just don't generate stars in the arena. Yeah, I'll be winding down the stream. Just fighting some arena stuff because I want to. And we'll see where we go from there. Yeah, Brave Sword Salif should easily be able to fight his way through the arena. The only question is if he gets weirdly barred on someone. And even then, I can just kind of brute force it by keep sending him through. Because eventually he'll land a double crit and just win. So I don't need to really be that worried about it. Also, this is the first arena, so it's not going to be a problem at all. Yes, I feel like fighting another round. Armor. Armor Knight, Lance Knight with a Steel Lance. So close to me to killing him in 2 hits. Cell lift's fallen off. Already level 12. Look, he doesn't need every single item, every single kill. Sure, he might have been able to promote by the end of this if he had gotten a lot of the, like, the Axe Knight kills, and the boss kills from last chapter. But frankly, I just like playing Fire Emblem in ways that are not using one unit to bulldoze the entire game. So what if I lost Larce in the process? And here's the final fight, General with a Silver Blade. This one's more of an inevitability than anything else. Inevitability of those crits, baby! Quite the fighter, cleared out the whole arena. Okay, now we can repair the Brave Sword to max. We'll be fine. Okay, actually, what's in the armory today? Oh, a lot of stuff. A recover staff, flame sword. Oh, good day, Rick Turpentine. Do not care. Okay, Oify, can you fight through? Lester, can you fight through? No one here is going to be anywhere close to purchasing the Paragon Ring. Not that Seliph would want to sell it anyway, because he needs that. So, in that case... Wait, no, you have the axe in your supply. You have the wind sword in your supply. Why do you have the wind sword in your supply? Yeah, because you need to sell the Brave Axe. I guess you have the Power Ring. Yeah, your magic's not that good, so you can probably sell the Wind Sword over to Oify. He's probably a better use for it. And you'll probably be better with just the Javelin. Yeah, because with the 0 magic, that's not really that great of a weapon for you. Okay, but with a combination of the Miracle Sword and the Brave Lance, we shouldn't have a problem fighting through the arena. Must be in the Legend of Seliph the Mage Killer. Oh, has he been getting a ton of resistance level ups? I haven't even been paying attention to what he's been getting in his level ups, just because he's been getting like pretty much everything. Yeah, Fee should be able to fight through. The Power Ring on her gives her so much damage just with that Brave Lance as well. Power Ring plus Brave Lance is so good. Doesn't even matter that her strength is kind of mid right now. She's on level 5, she'll grow into it. She'll get more strength. And even if she doesn't, she has all that speed with the Brave Lance weighing her down, so it doesn't matter. Oh, there was a Myrmidon. Several levels higher than her. With an iron sword. It's fine. It's fine. Rank 6. Ooh, silver axe. I'll actually equip the miracle sword. Just because I don't want to get hit by that. And if I do get hit by that once, I do not want to get hit by it again. There's your reward. Okay, general with a silver blade. Let's take you down. Easy fight. Easy fight. There's the crit. Good level. Good level. But yeah, let's definitely spend the money to repair Brave Lance and the Miracle Sword. That's pretty much all we're going to be needing. The Berserk Sword is like just there for shenanigans. Lester should be able to fight through here, right? Especially when the first fight is just Tolstoy with a hand axe. I also did give him a more optimal father in that of Madir. Even though Madir was very weak, so my Lester's actual raw stats are not that impressive. Purely the fact that he was able to inherit the Killer Bow and Brave Bow should add up to for quite a bit. Quite a bit of benefit. Skill, speed, luck. I'll take it. You look fight another round. Best of luck, stranger. Lance Knight with a javelin. Killer Bow, come on, get the crit. Pierce the defense. Doesn't even matter. I'm just gonna watch to make sure it doesn't break. But I want to be at that like one use left, just so I can get the extra uses out of it. Hey, it's Caster. Why is he an armor knight? Oh, I guess no, that's the hunter sprite, but hunter is like the weird barbarian archer class in this. Yeah, I feel like fighting another round. I'm gonna double check. Okay, 3 uses. Do this fight, and then we'll probably have to repair. Oh yeah, no, we'll definitely have to repair after this one. But because it's the arena, he gets to continue using the bow in its unbroken state, and then it will magically break only at the end of the fight. There it is. Killer Bow broke. $10,000? Oof. Yeah, just repairing these 2 bows is gonna keep me broke. But the Killer Bow is just the best. You might think the Brave Bow is the best, but actually the Killer Bow is the best most of the time, because it's so lightweight, So accurate. And crits are just obscene in Fire Emblem 4. Brave Bow is definitely better against enemies with low defense, but particularly against enemies with high defense, the Killer Bow is by far a much stronger weapon. Because yeah, I might do 8 damage on a hit, but I'll deal a 33 damage on a crit. And that lower weight means better attack speed, which means better dodging. Like, I don't know if Lester was hit once this whole arena. Stop proccing Great Shield, please. It's a 19% chance, dude. There we go. It's more likely for you to hit me with an attack than for you to proc Great Shield. And yet you didn't hit me once, but you proc Great Shield 4 times. Also, stop getting magic. There's no such thing as a magic bow. Then we'll come back around and just repair the Killer Bow again. Julia. This is actually an interesting fight to take. Because I think with Aura in the arena, she does not one-shot. Wait, did I seriously just come out with, like, only half an inventory of dense essence fragments? What the heck am I doing? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, like, dodge twice. Like that. Against mages, she will crush them. Against anything physical, is gonna be a problem. She can do it, but she's so slow. And so, like, not dodgy. Yeah, Julia is a unit built to do one thing and one thing only, and that is drop magical bombs while surviving the magical bombs of the enemy. That is not something that I'm really capable of setting up right now. Oh, you have plenty of money. Yeah, buy that wind sword. Fight in the arena with it. Honestly, only has 6 base might? That's terrible. I think the wind sword only casts wind at range. This would still be using their melee defense. That's the weird thing about trying to use magical weapons in the arena, is that you're most of the time not actually using their magical stats. So it's just a fancy beat stick. Hey, it's still good, it still works. But just not nearly as effective as you might want it to be. Level 16, Oifi. Hit point skill. definitely time to equip the Armor Slayer because the guaranteed crits are worth more than the 6 extra base damage. Like, I feel like the FE4 Armor Slayer might be one of the strongest iterations of the Armor Slayer ever seen, and it might not even be close. I should have just, like, bought a regular steel sword for him or something. I think I need that more than I need the magic attack. But the magic attack is going to be really nice out in the field. Okay, rank 7, let's fight the general. And let's not get deflected every time, please. Had to make it closer than it needed to be, didn't you? Yeah, we're definitely going to be winding down on the stream now, so unless anyone has any last-minute questions, we're just going to finish our arena-ing and be done for the night. I honestly think this shield sword might be one of the best swords in the game, too. At least for early levels. Stronger for 3DS design overall. 3DS design Armor Slayer. It's still... It's still triple damage, right? Triple damage effectiveness, but higher might. Or do you just mean like the visual design? You got a question? Sure, ask away. Favorite and least favorite Fire Emblem Lord. Oh, that is rough. That is rough in terms of that is a hard question. Avatar, not counting Avatar characters, counting like Lord specifically. You say you think you know the first half. I genuinely don't know. Like... Are we talking character-wise? Are we talking unit-wise? Are we talking just all of the above, anything in general? Because it's like, I can say a lot of things about a lot of them, but can I pick favorites? Is that something I'm even able to do, really? Because, like, Ike's the first choice. Ike's my first Lord, first example of that, you know, character archetype. I appreciate the story that he's in. Like, you can argue regardless of if he has, quote, like a quote character arc or not. I don't necessarily care. I like the story that he's in. I think he fits that story well. I appreciate the fact that he is kind of allowed to be an unchanging force. Not unchanging in terms of, like, he doesn't grow or develop or anything, but, like, unchanging in terms of he's always just kind of who he is. He just learns more and grows more confident and more capable through learning, but he always is himself. He always is his own personality. That doesn't change, and that doesn't have to change. I'm also a little partial to Ephraim, but that's mostly purely nostalgia bias because looking back, it's like Ephraim is not nearly as interesting overall. Wait, no, I killed the whole arena. Cool. Yeah, might as well just repair both of those. Dermot. Oh, Dermot's actually the problem here. What do I do with you? Do I sell the Slim Sword? Okay, just have an Iron Sword in supply. That's not important. Like, I'm actually more partial to Marth and Alm, to be perfectly honest, than I think a lot of people might expect. Marth for weird reasons. Like, Marth for weird mechanical reasons. As the more I dig into Lords mechanically, the more that Marth just stands out as being mechanically interesting in all his iterations, in ways that you think he kind of wouldn't or shouldn't be. Whole package. I said Leaf is your favorite once mine may have changed. I think character-wise, Leaf is definitely my favorite. Character-wise, in isolation, Leaf is my favorite because he has the most growth to him. He's a very interestingly designed Lord, in the sense of he still has the nobility, but he does not have the confidence, he does not have that same thing. He's put into the position of being forced to take on this role, whilst also existing in a way that is, he is still overshadowed and full of comparisons between himself and Seliph, in ways that I think similar but different, like fundamentally different, but there are some similarities between his self-comparison to Seliph and like the player's comparison of Micaiah to Ike. Which might sound weird to say, because I don't think they're the same character at all, either Ike to Seliph or Micaiah to Leaf, but I think that there is that. Yeah, the context of purely on a character standpoint, but also somewhat on a mechanical standpoint, it's Leaf. Leaf, just I think as a character, is very interesting. I don't think he's necessarily like it's hard to say because as I've been doing more and more of the design focused stuff on my channel, the mechanical side has pushed more and more to the forefront of my mind, where I'm seeing these units more and more as their mechanics and less as their like characters in isolation. I'm distanced enough from their character to the point where I am mostly seeing them as units, but I can still stop and acknowledge their character. I'm just not as used to it. And maybe that doesn't make much sense, but that's kind of where I'm at with that way. I will say in general, first of all, Dermot, please do something right for once. That's not correct. Do you just... Is your speed just absolutely terrible? Wow. Wow, I didn't realize, Dermot, all of your stats suck so bad. Love Leaf signaling Ike for you. Yeah, exactly. Dermot, why? Is it because I married Lachesis to Arden? Is this what Arden does to you? Is this what only having minor Hezul blood does to you? Dermot. Ouch. This hurts to look at. Oh, I'm sad now. I'm so sad for you, Dermot. Johan, can you even afford... Oh, you can. You're rich. You buy that Brave Axe right away. Okay, Dermot definitely needs a speed ring. To the point where it's like, I think Seliph might have to sell his speed ring to Dermot. Oh, that makes me so sad. But yeah, it's like I said, mechanically, I like... Mechanically, I like Martha's various iterations differently, but I've come to like him more the more I play his games. But I don't necessarily feel like he's my favorite Lord character-wise, because I think he is kind of the most neutral of them. I don't know. It's actually a really hard thing to say. Like, I think if we're going to be totally honest, least favorite, like if we're counting Corrin as a lord, it's Corrin. If we're not counting Corrin as a lord, even though that's basically what Corrin is, harder to say. Because it's just everything about the way that Corrin is just reflective of my feelings of Fates as a whole and my reasons for not wanting to play Fates. The things that Corrin is good at and focuses on are elements of the game that I don't particularly enjoy. The things that he suffers in are elements of the game that really do matter for me to enjoy the game. Like here's the thing. I will say, because of my YouTube channel, that I am very mechanics focused when it comes to these units and these lords, and that I think about them a lot mechanically. But I will also say that if a game's story is so off-putting for me that I can't even get my head into it to enjoy it properly, I'm not going to really appreciate its mechanics, even if its mechanics are quite interesting. That ain't Fergus. Oh yeah, no, Dermot is not Fergus. Ain't no way. Nah, let's sit and listen to the music while I look at this. The gameplay lord Seliph, a character is very close to the bottom. No, that's fair. Seliph isn't given a lot to be a character. Seliph and Roy are very similar character-wise in terms of they are used as vessels for exposition far more than they are used as characters in and of themselves. This is what happened in certain ways to early versions of Marth as well, wherein the Shadow Dragon official localization changed that a lot by giving him at least certain moments in which he stood out as a character. Certain speeches he gave, the both weakness and faith that he has. The weakness, the personal weakness and insecurity, but also like the faith in his friends, his allies, in the goal, in the mission, in what's going to happen. And so it's like, I think that there are interesting elements there. Do I think they make him cohesively my favorite character-wise? No. And so it's like, Leaf is probably my favorite character-wise. But honestly, I really do like Micaiah for a lot of reasons. I think that there are definitely reasons to dislike her as well. Oh, that's gonna be a... that's a possible one, though. That's possible, because all I have to do is hit, hit, dodge, hit, hit. Just like that. That one's not happening, though. I do not believe in Johann's ability to fight that Armor Knight. Without done with, though, who wants to see Arthur Forseti his way through the arena? Actually, I'm just going to Elwind one or two first. Don't necessarily want to spend all that Forseti. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, I've been speeding up. Too much. Now's the time when we Forseti out. Kaya's number 3. Fair enough. Yeah. I have a hard time ranking this because I feel like at one point I would have had a much stronger opinion set. I feel like right now I'm, in a weird way, despite making it my channel's focus for so long, distanced enough from Fire Emblem that I've just not thought about it in that way to really have, like, favorites and least favorites in that sense, specifically for Lords. Gotta go fast. Yeah, sorry for spamming speed up. Used to haters. Today. Personal growth. Yeah, it's... Micaiah is definitely another one who grows on you a lot more the more you're exposed to, the more you play. And I think Martha's a similar way. But again, that's also all of Marth's games. Every single Arcanea Fire Emblem is one that the more Fire Emblem you play, the more you will appreciate them. Potentially. But that also might just be me and might just be my design sensibilities, because while I try to be as objective as possible when creating the the Design 101 series, while I try to just state things as I see them, facts and information directly, and general trends, and I try to separate out my personal opinions from it, I will say very clearly and straight up, my design sensibility is that simpler is generally better. I do not like a lot of fiddly bits in my game. I like simple, straightforward, but not necessarily stupid. I like things to be... I like all my pieces to function simply and clearly and cleanly, and then I like those pieces to be organized, to be set into a complex system. Maybe that makes more sense. Like, for instance, I prefer Vestaria Saga to Fire Emblem Fates greatly. Because Vestaria Saga has a lot of very simple units. Some of them do pretty specific things, but ultimately they're very simple units, set into very complex, moving, dynamic maps. And dynamic's not exactly the right word for it. You have simple units placed into very complex situations. And I prefer that to something like Fates or Awakening or Three Houses even, where you have very complex units set into broadly simple situations, where, if anything, the situations have simplified more over time, even as the units have gotten more complex over time. And I have personal strong feelings that I prefer the opposite. Yeah, where I prefer, like, I'll put it this way. Much as I love Sacred Stones, like, Sacred Stones is my, like, chill comfort game. I can just boot that up and play through it in an afternoon, and it is just fun and relaxing for me and kind of mindless. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the GBA Fire Emblems for what they are. I'm not an FE7 hater. I think FE7 is definitely the weakest of the 3 GBA Fire Emblems for me personally, but I would still rate FE7 higher than several other games. One sec. Okay, I'll put it this way. I'm not generally a fan of Awakening or Fates. I appreciate what they are for the people they are for. I am not one of the people those games are made for. Like, I know full well Conquest is huge for so many people. Conquest is their game of choice beyond any question, any shadow of a doubt. I am not the person for whom Conquest was made. And that's fine. That's fine. Because a game series doesn't have to cater to one specific player its whole game through. A game series should change and adapt, find new audiences, and be allowed to change and grow and be dynamic, and be better for some audiences than other audiences, and keep moving and finding its flow. I love Dark Souls 1. I am a little bit less of a fan of Elden Ring. But I can still play and have fun with Elden Ring. It doesn't mean that I hate the game. I just personally like Dark Souls 1 the best of all the FromSoft games I have played, which include the first 3 Dark Souls games and Elden Ring. Like, that's it. I didn't have a PlayStation, and I've yet to pick up Sekiro. Doesn't mean I hate all the other games? No. All the other games are still very good. I even enjoyed a lot of Dark Souls 2. But I understand a lot of people's frustrations with it, and I understand it being a game that was not really made with them in mind. With a lot of people in mind. And if I were to go back and play it today, I might have more thoughts on its actual game design because I'm more critical now than I was at the time. It's also just been so long that I can't necessarily remember a lot of it. But it's like, I still like most Fire Emblem games. I would not give Conquest an F just because it's my least favorite Fire Emblem game. I would not give it like a 0 out of 10 or something. It's just not my personal preference. I enjoyed it when I was playing it, for the most part, but I also found the end game of it incredibly frustration to the point where I just did not want to play the game anymore. Ultimately, that's my issue with Conquest, is that the story frustrated me far more than it grabbed me, and the end game maps were so frustrating I didn't want to play the game anymore. There you have it. I'm probably just gonna wrap up the stream, so I'm just gonna be chilling and talking here. Second core Funimation was loved despite being brutal first, just pairing timing, sword frame, like stat, character building, it's so nice. Yeah, fair enough. It's like, it is a combat game through and through. It does one thing, and it does that one thing well, and it aims to be that one thing for at least the vast majority of it. I've not played Sekiro myself, but I've watched it and seen it, and I'm familiar with it enough to know it does that one thing very well all the way forward, in which once you get a certain level of over complexity, you start dropping a lot of that. It's like, I love Monster Hunter. It's also what made you quit Three Houses. Yeah, same. It's why Three Houses, it's like Fates. If I had to rank the Fire Emblem games, and this is not saying the ones at the bottom are getting a 0, the ones at the bottom are like a C. They're still passing by a decent margin. They're still fun to play. I still enjoyed my time with them. But in terms of my wanting to go back and replay them, it is the Fates games, and then probably Three Houses, and then Awakening, And then Engage, probably. I'm just so done with Engage. And then all the rest are in a weird sense of, like, I'm either actively replaying them or I've replayed them fairly recently, or, like, I do kind of want... It's, like, technically New Mystery is next on that list, but there's, like, a significant gap between it and the next lower one. And because it's been so many years since I last really played it, I can't even necessarily say that for sure. But New Mystery also holds the title in my mind for, like, this is the hardest challenge I someday want to overcome, is trying to do a Lunatic playthrough of... Not Lunatic Reverse, but Lunatic without... Like, Lunatic on a clean save file, you know, no Rainbow Potion or Stat Boosters or the like. Same as Smash characters always play characters based on fundamentals or on a lot of weird text. Remember? Yeah, exactly. It's like, I used to play characters, you know, pick up characters in games based on, like, oh, what their style was, whatever, but I always fell back to what character or what weapon set or what idea, what just fit my fundamental understanding, which one gelled with me the best. And so it's like, cool, you can be all complex and combo focused and everything, have all these moving parts. I'm gonna take something that it might not even be the easiest or most simple, but it's like something that is understandable to me. Like, I played Crusader when I played Diablo 3. I tried out all the other classes, I just wasn't really into it. I played a Crusader and it just, like, clicked. Don't ask me to play through Diablo 3 again. I've played everything in Diablo 2. I love that game. I've played everything in Diablo 1. I freaking adore that game. Haven't played Diablo 4. Don't plan to. I play a paladin right now in Final Fantasy XIV. And it is simple and straightforward and allows me to focus on the rest of the fight and the small elements and intricacies of tanking and whatnot. I do simple stuff in old school RuneScape. I am not a high-end raider. I barely step into raids at all. I've done, like, you know, 1 TOB, 1 TOA, and no COX. That's it. haven't done much raids at all. Haven't done much bossing at all. But I've done all the quests. I skill quite a bit. I do a variety of things. I play Fire Emblem games where I use all the different characters. I love it. But I use characters as the classes they are, and I barely reclass in games that are allowing reclassing. I will reclass a handful of units at most per playthrough, and only to things that really stand out as, oh, this unit really wants to be this instead. I don't find a lot of fun in the constant, like, matching... I don't know how to put it. I haven't given it enough honest thought to paper in ways that I agree with. I've given a lot of thought to paper, but in ways that I keep changing my mind, so I feel like it's not quite right. I want to like Fates, and I want to like Engage more than I do. I want to like them. I think I'm fascinated by them. I think they're very interesting. But interesting does not mean fun for me. It's different. It's fundamentally different. And Fates is interesting in a very specific way that my brain just did not latch onto, did not get, did not understand. Heck, at this point I'm just talking so much, I might have... No, but if I start playing, I'll get distracted. Because once I finish making this point, I want to go to sleep. But just talking about games and talking about... Because it's interesting, because it's... Something I was thinking of doing for a 4K special was going back through all my old tier lists. But the more that I feel that, the more I'm just like, it's not really worth it. I can sit back and laugh at the horribleness of most of them. But all the YouTube comments do that for me. But also, you know, think of the easy content. I might still do that. I might still do that as like an extra 4K special. Hey, watch all my old tier lists. They're so terrible. Let's try to fix them. But that's gonna be such a long video if I ever make that. Maybe I don't have to fully remake them. I'm gonna just comment on them. But yeah, it's... my brain's trailed off. I like simple stuff. That's my personal preference. If it's not your personal preference, don't worry about it. Enjoy what you enjoy. Just don't tie your worth or value... just don't tie your value of me into the fact that I somehow would have to like the thing you like or enjoy the thing you enjoy in the same way for the same reason. You can explain all the reasons you like your thing. Cool. Not saying you're wrong. Just saying it doesn't click for me the same way. Personal preference and all that. But I also hope that I've kept enough of that personal preference, at least in appearance-wise, out of like the Unit Design 101 and Map Design 101 stuff. Like, I feel like it doesn't fundamentally necessitate, like, Unit Design 101, I'm talking about the unit as a whole, and I will mention, when necessary, stuff like reclassing and what it did for Wyverns, or stuff like skills and how they've taken over a lot of the usefulness of, like, they've boiled down the usefulness of thieves into the lock touch skill to the point where the thief class is basically useless, and so it's had to go through an entire redesign just to try and re-find its worth. You know, I feel like I've taken that from enough of a bird's eye view, top-down view, or like design focused, and that my personal bias hopefully doesn't come out as much in that. I know that there are definitely elements in which it will come out, but I hope that it's been boiled out of it sufficiently. And it seems like, based on the reaction that it's gotten, if it hasn't been boiled out, then people are agreeing with it. But that's kind of all on that. Anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in and sticking around and listening to me ramble on at you. I know it's not the most interesting thing, perhaps, but, you know, what better way to spend a Tuesday night, I guess. If anyone wants to, you know, check out the rest of the videos on the channel, go for it. If you're not in the Discord, check it out. Links are in the description of every video. I don't think I put the link into the stream description here, but yeah, such is life. But yeah, I can't promise I will be streaming anytime soon, but if I am streaming, I will continue FE4. Basically, this is going to be my, every time I stream, I'll boot up FE4, we'll see how far we get. I've been wanting to take a look at doing non-Fire Emblem stuff again, but I don't know whether to do it here or whether to do it elsewhere. I've tried to splash in some non-Fire Emblem references in like Map Design 101 and Mechanics Design 101 and stuff like that. That's what it is. That's where I'm at. Till then, I'm gonna still keep the Fire Emblem video train going. It may or may not be every week, but help pass the time VC and these long maps another day. Yeah, another day. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm not gonna promise you every single week or anything, because I have been getting Fire Emblem burnout as I reach the end of Unit Design 101. I only have a couple more unit types I want to talk about left in the bucket. It's like clerics, hybrid units, Pegasus Knights, and then after that, I'm like scraping the bottom of the barrel. Like, do I start talking archetypes? Do I start talking promoted units and like narrowing the focus down that much? Do I start talking about other traits of units? I think there's a lot of stuff to talk about, but I don't think that the Unit Design 101 format necessarily holds for that. But the format might work really well. I'll just need to figure that out in scripting and editing. But yeah, until next time, this is Mythos Zenith signing out. I'm going to leave a little bit of space here for the stream lag. And then I'm going to end the stream. But thank you so much for watching. Get it right. Sorry, Imagine Matt. I am actually just ending the stream. I am so sorry. If you have any questions or comments, though, feel free to shoot them. Like I said, there's a Discord in the description of like every other video. Not this one, but not this video, but like not the stream, but like every other video. There's a Discord in the description if you're not in there already. Yeah, I know. Sorry. But I've been going for about 3 hours now, and my voice is dead. But yeah, feel free to rewatch YouTube self-archives, so if you're interested in seeing me play through Chapter 6 and lose Larcy, go for it. But yeah, I don't know when I'll stream next. Fire Emblem videos, again, just boiling down, Fire Emblem videos will still be continuing. I can't necessarily hard promise every single week, because I've been hitting just emotional burnout on that, but such is life. Anyway, leaving the space for the ending. Make sure y'all catch up and chat. Till next time, Mythos Zenith, signing out.